Hi, it's Gadget UK here again, back with something home and life related. Garmin GPS. Yeah, it's not working. You can see it's got what looks like a mini USB thing there. I've got a mini USB cable, but I've also got the car charger from Garmin that came with it. Now that is a bit loose. Let me show you first thing here. Yeah, it's connecting, but feels a wee bit loose. But yeah, it's just not powering on at all. And when it's on charge, it's not doing anything. There's no indications that it's on. You can't get it to come on with either of those cables in the car. So yeah, I think my thoughts are damaged connection here, where it joins the PCB, could have broken off, or it's got so low, the battery level, that it's the protection circuit is going, nah, it's too low, I'm not going to charge that. So either way, I might be able to just get this back to functioning order again. Remove these 4 screws here. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's get the back off. Let's have a look inside. So this is where the iFixit toolkit comes in handy here. You can see got lots of hairs and things over this. Anyway, you may have seen the short video I did on this. And I got the relevant Torx bit there. I just did it by eye, really. The first one I picked was too small. I went the next one up and we get that in there. Right, take 2, that other bit was not the right bit. It wasn't Torx at all. This one is. It's now gripping. There we go. This one screw out. Put these out of the way, these screws, because if they get underneath the screen, you're going to scratch the screen. So yeah, just make sure they're well clear of it before you put it back down on a surface. And obviously a soft surface, like, I don't know, piece of bubble wrap, or some carpet. I'm hoping this might be a nice, easy fix here. Now, this may be clipped as well as screwed together, so I may now need to, sort of come in around the edges and try and separate it. There may even be something under here, actually. I think there probably is. I think it's going to be a central screw there. Yeah, I pulled that sticker off the back and then stuck it back on. It's just a sticker. There is no screw underneath it, but just doing this with a nail. Here, it's separating. So yeah, I started like on the other side like this here and just went like that and did that. So yeah, we're separating that. Okay, this is a bit hard here because obviously you've got a corner to contend with here. Looks like the front sort of clips off rather than the back by the looks of that. Yeah, there we go. So obviously you've got to be careful because you've got delicate ribbons and things there, but we just need to just carefully open it that way. Where's the power connector? It's here, isn't it? So the power connector's here. That's where I'm expecting there to be some damage, maybe where it's soldered onto the PCB. So if we just carefully inspect this, let's just disconnect that flat flex. So I'm just going to lift it very carefully like that. This is one of these ones where you've got to lift it upwards. This is a bit fiddly, and you've got to get it underneath it, I think. Yeah, like that. And then the screen comes out, there we go, separate the 2 halves. Obviously we can measure the battery, just in case the battery has gone flat. If it has, we might be able to just top it up with 1 volt for a minute or 2. We can obviously make sure the battery connector is firmly on there. But yeah, I'm just going to inspect the connector here now with magnification. I can't see how that's mounted actually. It must be soldered on the other side. So holding the board in there are 3 screws you can see here, here and here. Yeah, so my instinct is going to be this connector here. It's going to be one of these 4 connections here, maybe is loose. So I mean, I'm just pushing them. You can't see from that distance. I'm just going to inspect with magnification and see if I can move any of those, if any of them are loose. And if they are, we'll just get a bit of solder on there and reflow it. Yeah, to be fair, those look fine. Now there are 2 0-ohm links here. They're acting as a fuse. So on continuity test, you've got beep there. That one's alright. It's continuous. And the next one, that one's continuous. So yeah, I'm going to get some flux on there and reflow that anyway, but my guess is this has just gone so flat I need to plug it in and maybe leave it. We can actually check the current on my current indicator thing, this thing here that you may have seen before. It's you can use this with all sorts of USB devices. It says there USB detector. You plug this into, say, where your power normally goes, and then your cable. So in this case here, the USB cable I've got, plug in there, plug into this, and it'll come up here saying 5. It should say 5 volts, and it'll show us current in number of amps. If it's 0, we know this is just pulling no current at all and there's something wrong still. If one of these has gone open circuit, you could get a very, very fine gauge wire and just bridge over it. It's not recommended because, obviously it's a safety feature, that's a fuse. You could just get a 0-ohm link that's, an 1/8 of a watt or something and, it fits it on there. Yeah. I'm not sure the exact size of the SMD component, but Yeah, I've covered that sort of thing lots of times on my channel before. Yeah, but the main thing is you can see how to resolder it. That will be a common issue on these where the solder points become brittle. So we'll disconnect the battery. There we go. I've still got a wire here somewhere for the speaker, look. So yeah, always disconnect your battery. Should have done that before I took this PCB out, really. But we'll just get a tiny little bit of flux there. That's all we need. Switch the soldering iron on. Something else to consider here as well. Just by virtue of disconnecting the battery here and then reconnecting it, we may find it powers on. If this got stuck in some sort of endless loop or something, there was a problem, it crashed, I don't know, from low power and you trying to power it on, it glitched out. Just the process of trying to switch it on could have caused it to lock up. Because there's no LED on this. This is one thing that annoys me about modern devices. They are so built to cost that they go, we don't need an LED. Well, we do need an LED. Users do not know whether things are powered on or not unless the thing is booted and the screen comes on. Yeah, because that's the only way you know this is working, is when the screen illuminates. Yeah, so you can see here I'm just using a very fine tip. I'm just heating over each pin, heating the flux at the same time. The flux activates and helps it reflow. And as long as you've got decent flux, like Chipquick or Amtech, it will help you avoid bridging the connections. But if you've got a really chunky tip on your soldering iron, yeah, you could bridge them really easily, and then you may need to use a little bit of desolder braid, which is, it wicks the solder up. It has, a capillary action there, and yeah, I'm doing the grounds as well. Look, so yeah, hopefully you can see there. I've reflowed both of the ground tabs there. I could do that one over that side, but I don't think that's an issue. I'll do it anyway. There's not any flux there, but we'll just heat this side here, just give it a bit of time. Allow it to start to melt. There we go, it's melted. And pull back. So the 4 connections there, 2 of which are power, and the 3 ground tabs have been resoldered. The other thing you want to do really is use some magnification and just inspect here. Can you see the nice copper contacts, gold looking contacts on top of that? Does the internals of that look okay? You don't see any broken parts or pins bent out, etc. Now we've done that, I'll just clean with the cotton bud. We'll connect the battery up and we'll reassemble it. Now, of course, we could measure that battery there. Could get, my fine multimeter probes onto the battery contacts, and I could measure them, and I could go, the battery's flat, that's why it's not working. That might be the next thing. I'm not going to fully reassemble this at this stage. I'm just going to connect the power, connect the screen, and then connect up a cable and see what's going on with regards to current. So, yeah, battery may need a boost or something. Hot air, that little component there, it's right next to this connector. I could imagine a scenario where there's a bad solder point on that, actually. So that might be where heating some hot air and a bit of flux. Just get the solder molten there till it, it pulls itself back on. Let's say there is a pad that's, loose a little bit. That may fix it. So anyway, let's now flip this back this way. We'll connect that up last, I think. Get the 3 screws. I'm not sure I explained that, but there was 3 screws. The same size screwdriver again. Yeah, let's get this board back into its little home here somewhere. Hang on. I can still see the power connector down there, so it'll be a bit of a tight fit, but we can do that in a minute. And let's get these 3 screws back in, if I can remember where they were. One down here. In fact, I just put 1 screw in for the moment because I don't want to commit to totally reassembling this. I'm probably going to need to get that in now, actually. The one is the screen. It's going to be really difficult. It's going to be really difficult to get that power back in if I don't do that now. So let's just move those out of the way and bring the screen in and try and get that back into there. So again, you need to lift that flap. This is where you may need to use magnification to help you do this, because that flex ribbon is so small. Yeah, so that was incredibly difficult. You got to try and feed it under this flap. The flap there's a gap underneath it. So the ribbon is under there. We now just need to carefully push this down now. Because this is quite long, you want to try and go sideways like this. Don't do it from, say, the middle, you'll snap it. Try and get a long tool like this down the length of it and try and just push the whole thing upwards and over if you can. It's easier said than done. Or get something that's very wide, like this, for example, and try and push it over that way. There we go, can you see that? So hopefully that's in position. So let's now connect some power up and see what's going on. So I've got USB charger here, we'll plug that into there. And then I'll bring in just the straight USB cable. I've got no reason to suggest the actual car, the 12 volt adapter that goes to the cigarette, thing, lighter there. It's probably not that because the LED's on it. So you can see here, 5 volts, 0 amps. Now carefully plug this into here. I am assuming that this, you know, a normal mini USB like this will work with this. It's the same connector. It'd be stupid if it didn't. So there, 0.13, 0.16, 0.22, 0.63. It's charging. Oh look, it's on. There you go. Problem solved. So even though I couldn't see a bad solder point, it could have been that. Yeah, could have been a bad solder point. Could have been that the battery just needed disconnecting. Yeah. But there we go, successful repair. So I'm just going to switch this off if I can. And this is not my device, so it's like I've never used it. There we go, I think it's off, so unplug that. Obviously I need to unclip the back again because I did sort of clip it back on and fit the 2 screws that I still haven't fitted. You could have argued that would have been a good thing to do before fitting the ribbon cable for the screen. Have I just switched it back on? Oh I have, yeah, look. Oh. There we go, all tightened up, and you can see it's on. It switched itself on there while I was doing all that, and it's pretty well charged already. Anyway, hopefully you found that useful. I'll catch you in the next video.